once again the airwaves in Nigeria, echoing to the sounds of defectors announcing their decampment from the PDP to the APC. And the latest surge has been taking place in Akwa Ibom State. It's raised the highest alarm amongst the opposition that what was at the outset just a few localized defections has now turned into a major storm. But this, some would say, unprincipled decision by many politicians to desert the parties on whose platforms they were elected is also meeting some resistance, with a number of those who were part of the movement that brought Governor Enang to power pushing back and refusing to carpet cross with him. And when the governor announced his defection at a public town hall gathering, there was a resounding no. So how popular are these defections amongst the voters? Are they taking place often against the wishes of the electorate? And how much APC arm twisting is involved? Well, for his take on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former lawmaker representing Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District, Senator Enang, who's also a former advisor to the President on National Assembly matters and former APC governorship aspirant in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again. Let me first of all get your reaction to the defection of the governor of your state, Enang, from the PDP to the APC. Presumably that's a defection that you welcome.
It is a defection that I welcome, and we gladly welcome the governor and his exercise of his right to look at the torrent, the storm, and decide when the water in the canoe is capable of overwhelming the canoe and sinking, and then deciding that in the course of trying to get the water scoop the water out of the canoe, he may have to jump out. Because if you look at the state of the People's Democratic Party today, which they started in 2013-2012 by endorsement, by thinking that they are in power, and by thinking that they gradually, everybody moved, started led by me, as it were. I was the very first person, major political office holder to move from the APC.
You mean to defect?
To defect.
Right.
Yeah, well, I moved at that time.
You don't like the word defect?
I did not defect.
The way it applies to you.
Yeah, so I moved into the APC, and by God's grace, I was spotted by President Buhari's administration and made advisor after the government was formed. And then gradually, other people saw it and moved and joined. Gradually in 2018, Senator Akwa left and joined us. I think 2019 contested the elections on the Senate. And then after the elections didn't go well, he became a minister and so on. And gradually then, other people still moved. And then we got stronger, built stronger, and became more than them. We've always had this slogan when you mention APC. You'll have the people say we are more than them. That is why kind of more. So we became that strong, and then the situation evolved. We went into the election. We had some crises which led to some disadvantage for the APC, which was actually and really in the lead. And now we contested that election. Finally, we had no candidate. And now we have Omono defecting and joining us because of the crisis of the in the PDP. And of course, he has stated, and agree with him, we all agree with him, that he wants to support President Tinubu for a second term, and that he has seen and accepted the performance of President Tinubu as President of Nigeria. And the state has had more money than it was in the time of Governor Udom Emmanuel. And then he is not owing any debt, because the amount of money that has come from the federal government is enough for him to pay the existing debt, execute projects, pay salaries, get other projects going, and start new projects, complete uncompleted projects of Udom Emmanuel, take up and complete other projects that were left behind by the governor Godswill Akpabio, now president of the Senate, and that being so, and the economy is moving, although he has challenge on the other things, that on the basis of this, he will want to support the president for a second term.
Is that the
and
reason?
that on the basis of that, it will be difficult for him to stand in PDP and then support the governor, the president in APC.
Yeah.
So he has to move in. And of course, finally, he wants to be on the table. Because what I had always advocated from 2014, 2015, and then 2016, 2017, when we tried to move the state to APC, from PDP it was, which became a minority party, that Akwa Ibom, given our contribution to the development of the country, to the revenue of the country, we cannot contribute so much, and then we are not on the table of the government, of the ruling party. So what we've now done is that Akwa Ibom, being one of the highest contributors to the revenue of the country, is now on the same table with the president.
But there's a big argument about what it is, the real agent provocateur behind Governor Eno moving. Some have suggested that it is because the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who is in the APC and is the number 3 person in Nigeria's leadership hierarchy, is insisting that his home state of Akwa Ibom must be in the same party with himself. So the question is Governor Eno defecting because he's being intimidated, and if he fails to do so, it might be fatal for his political career? Because some of those who are refusing to defect with him, and there are quite a number of them in Akwa Ibom State who are refusing to defect, they say they're being harassed and intimidated by the APC to join the party. I mean, they're not making up stories, are they?
They're making up stories because they could be intimidated by the actions and the weight and the wave of the wind of the APC consuming their political strongholds. Now, the president of the Senate is the number 3 citizen of the country. He brings in a lot of projects into the country, into the states. And these projects and programs attract followerships, attract following, attract support of the people. And the people now say, if we did not have the number 3 citizen, if we have number 3 citizen only, and we are having as much as we have from the President Tinubu administration, now we better join the ruling party.
Well, the question is, and I don't mean to interrupt you, whether it is what the people are saying. And let me run this through quickly. First of all, there are those like Ini Enemobong, who was the Commissioner of Special Duties in Akwa Ibom State. There's Barrister Emmanuel Enoidem, who led the movement that brought Governor Eno to power. There are at least 15 members of the State Assembly, local government chairmen, and I'm told up to 60% of those who helped to bring Governor Eno to office and who are loyal to the former Governor Udom Emmanuel, either refusing outright or resisting pressure to defect with the governor based on their principles and loyalties. And when Governor Eno announced his defection at a town hall gathering, there was a resounding no. It was a public gathering when he said he was moving to the APC. So clearly, it's not a popular move, is it?
No. I think there is a misunderstanding or a wrong perception. First, the movement by PDP members into the APC is gradual. Like the governor himself will say, is progressive movement into the progressive party.
Well, I don't know if it's gradual. He made it clear when he was addressing members of his team that he expected all of them to join him in defecting. So there's no gradual there.
It's gradual.
It's a pretty dramatic move.
It's gradual. It's only one member of his executive that has left for now, to my knowledge.
You mean now, said he's not going to be part of it?
Yes. Now, that has said. And I don't want
to... Well, that's just the cabinet. There's also members of the State Assembly.
There are members of the... I think there are one member of the State Assembly also, to my knowledge.
Well, we're hearing about 15 members.
That's not correct.
Who are reluctant to move.
I was there, and I saw them move. I saw them at the ground. And now the State Executive members, were... all of them decided that they want to stay in PDP to support the governor's aspiration in PDP. Now, that is why you are not seeing any member of the state executive defecting or declaring that he has defected. You are not seeing any member of the local government executive or ward executives, none of them. But I think the picture will be clearer in the, because the national executive, the national chairman, and the national working committee, the president or vice president, the president of the Senate, and the leadership of the party will be in Akwa Ibom on, I think, sometimes in the last week of June. It's not appropriate for me to announce the specific date, but we know the date that has been communicated.
Right. But
for the persons who want to stay to be known, and those who are joining us to be known.
Yeah, but
there is no pressure on all of them.
But what
but
about
they're also afraid
yeah.
of giving ground for other people to come and take up towards the purpose.
Yeah, but what about people like yourself?
Yes.
What about the politicians who were already there in the APC in Akwa Ibom State, in Delta State, fighting the corner of the party before the defectors arrived? Because I understand that these governors who've defected are going to be made leaders of the APC in their states. What happens to the people who were already there in the APC, like yourself in Akwa Ibom State, people who have fought for this party over a long period of time, and people like Omo Agege, for example, in Delta State? What happens to those people?
It's a very difficult question to answer. It's a very tough one, and it's a very depressing one. But then, when we find ourselves in a situation like this, and the party is discussing and talking and finding its way, the party has become so big, so strong, so powerful that others want to come in. You will let them come in, and when they come in, then you now sit and discuss accommodation.
But they're going to turf you out. There's no question about that.
Well, we've faced it before, and I don't expect that they will allow it to happen again.
Well,
that is why I am using this opportunity to urge the national leadership of the party that let them study what happened in Kwara State, the Otoge principle, which when a group of people moved from their party to another party and sought to take over and humiliate and run out the members of that party they went into. The party they went into, which was strong on ground, all of them simply moved and populated this other side where the people came from. And they left these people to get under the shell of the party. And that is how a sitting president of the Senate lost the election. Now, I want the party on this matter. Unfortunately, I'm very emotional about it. I'm touched by it, and I've been worried about it.
Well, you're entitled to be.
Yes. Now, but then, that is capable of being discussed. That is capable of being accommodated. That is capable of being sorted. That is capable of being... But what we want to do is to avoid a situation that we scare them. We don't want to scare. We don't want to scare any person. Because the party, what we do in the party...
But you're obviously concerned.
Yes, we are concerned.
Yeah.
I am personally concerned.
Okay.
Concerned. And very personally concerned.
Yes.
Because I know what I have gone through in the hand of that state, in the hand of the party, in the hand of the PDP.
And now those same people are in your party.
Yes. But then I'll have to show,
magnanimity.
Magnanimity to the extent that there is justice. Because I know that there are people who've been in AD, ACN, CPC, came in, joined in forming the alliance, came in and then going into APC, and are still in APC from 1999 to 2025. And are still hoping and very anxious, Now, there has to be a template worked out by the national leadership of the party for Delta, for Akwa Ibom, for, I understand by rumor, but the rumor is very strong that Bayelsa has fallen into the hand of APC. I understand a very strong rumor that the plateau has leveled into APC. And then other parties, and then Oshun is the iron is striking. So there has to be a template of integration, power sharing, office sharing, and then there has to be strict understanding that APC had members who contested in the last elections, governorship, House of Representatives, Senate, House of Assembly, chairmanship, councillorship, and that they are still interested in contesting. And so it has to be made known that coming into APC as a serving legislator, as a serving chairman of local government, as a serving whatever, does not and should not automatically grant you the right of first refusal.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like there's a conflagration already, even before the thing has taken shape.
No, it's not. I know that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, he led the formation of the party. He saw the steps that PDP walked towards the fall. And he saw how so much of endorsement I come to do you led PDP to a free fall. And then APC took over in 2015. And so he's definitely not going to allow that to be.
Well, the president has not shown a reputation so far for being somebody who can solve problems. He's been coming across as somebody who says, okay, right, all of you kind of do this or do that. Because if we look at what happened in Rivers State, he wasn't able to solve the problem in Rivers State. He had to come down with a sledgehammer, which has left a lot of people unhappy. And let me tell you this, the School of Political Thought in Abuja recently announced that we've had more defections in the last 1 year than in the entire history of this country, certainly since it became independent. And it said the reason is because we now have more unprincipled politicians either in office or aspiring for office than ever before. I mean, doesn't that worry you beyond just the narrow satisfaction of being in a ruling party that appears to be getting stronger on the back of a weakened opposition? I mean, that is potentially destroying this country's hard-earned democracy, in which you yourself are heavily invested.
I've really heavily invested. But I want to confirm and assert the capacity of the President Tinubu to solve these problems. And I want to say that the situation in Rivers State was an isolated case and it's not like part of what we're facing. I'm also concerned at the level of defection, because we should have political parties which have principles and which have ideology, manifesto. Yeah. This is our stand on education. This is our stand on foreign policy. This is our stand on agriculture. This is our stand on diplomacy, on technology, on AI, on different aspects. So, and that's what I want to say. That is a disappointing.
Briefly, we've got about now, 1 minute.
I agree. Now, I want to say that as the defectors are coming into the APC, they should learn and be compelled to abide by the manifesto and principles of the APC. In one of the lectures I delivered, where the legislators were involved, right. I said, and I say on this program, that if you love President Tinubu, do as President Tinubu has done of APC. You love APC and you're coming into it. APC administration at the federal level gives money of the judiciary to the judiciary. Make sure you don't spend the money of the judiciary buying cars and building houses for the judiciary. Okay. The APC administration of President Tinubu at the federal level gives monies to the states directly, 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. If you love, you are to the president what the local governments are to you. Give the monies of the local government to the local government. Let it go into their account and announce. And then if you love President Tinubu,
10 seconds.
give the money of the houses of assembly to the houses of assembly. So you must accept to abide by the principles and philosophy
on that
of
note,
the APC, and not just bring the tactics that make you run away from PDP or any other party to come and contaminate the pure stream of the All Progressives Congress.
Well, that's a bit fresh, some would say, given that they're all politicians who've crossed from the one party to the other. They're all birds of the same feather. But anyway,
fresh stream.
Senator, I want to thank you very much indeed. Senator Enang is a former lawmaker representing Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District, is a former advisor to the President on National Assembly matters, and former APC governorship aspirant in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.